Twilight Garage podcast is brought to you by The Red Onion, the Bay Area's finest hamburgers, located at 11900 San Pablo Avenue in El Chorrito. Tell them Twilight Garage sent you.
Ooh, Twilighters! On the case, the big case.
Welcome.
We're so glad you're joining us here, where we're discussing pretty much exclusively Manson family-related topics. We keep swearing we're going to do other things. However, we're digging in deep and having a lot of fun because it just is the story that will never end. Casey, we're currently working on what?
We're working on No Sense Makes Sense up to page 801, and every day doing research about 10 to 12 hours a day. Been writing this last couple weeks on our friend Lynette Frome.
Ooh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Could you illuminate us at all, please?
Been going through an old website on the Wayback Machine. I can't remember what the site is, but it's dedicated to Lynette. It existed in the early 2000s, and on there are some really great letters that were written to and from Lynn, as well as just newspaper articles, a lot of stuff having to do with the Gerald Ford attempted assassination. It all gives really good insight. I think for every probably 10 pages I read, it produces maybe a half a page in my book.
Well, that's a really nice ratio because you think about the distillation process and just how much raw information has been put out, let's just say on Lynn alone. I've often marveled not only at some of the things that Jess Braven points out so many times, which is just her source of United States legal precedences that have been set in her name. It's just so many of them from the president of the United States on down. This woman has had such gnarly cultural and physical impacts.
Yep.
And you think about what a product she was of her time, that you could walk up to somebody like Gerald Ford and have whatever your take is on their interaction, because there's, there's a lot of back and forth about that. We're hoping to, on the show, get the true story for the 50th. That's my heart's ambition. And as you know, on this show, we've been very blessed when I put my heart's ambition out there. If I'm just honest, and I'm like, I love you, I don't know how it's going to happen, but there's a thing I like. So who knows what's going to happen. But so we're here looking at the Bugliosi story still, and simultaneously getting people's motivations. So in your studies, 800 pages deep, good Lord. What have you found in terms of the living room, the conveyance of the hostages into the living area, and then the first strokes of physical violence? I would like to cover that firstly, and then if we can kind of talk about some of the players' motivations, such as Linda Kasabian, who is, I think, due to the lack of defense in any way, shape, or form, we've never gotten a satisfactory explanation of her participation of lack thereof. There was no cross-examination, no any of that. So let's start there. And Casey, we've got Susan allegedly with Sharon Tate, the great male hairdressing pioneer, Mr. Jay Sebring, and they're being led down a interior hallway towards the living room. Now what kind of scene is going on in the living room now? Because inside the house we have Tex Watson, who's allegedly, as we just stated a couple episodes ago, laid boots upon Wojtek Frykowski. And then the famous oft uttered phrase was forever placed there. I don't know how accurate that is or is not. I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business. Or something about some devil shit.
Yeah.
Listening with Tarantino. So there we are. And sorry for the long-winded lead-in, y'all.
You're good.
But there's just so many delicate details that we're trying to lay out in a different way than I think has ever been heard, which is thoroughly and chronologically as we approach this book, which is say whatever you want about it. I thought it was one of the greatest pieces of fictions ever. And I adore the story. I just think it's so fucking wild and just apocalyptic and punk rock. And then they chose my hometown basically as the fucking epicenter of like, we're gonna hide out in fucking goddamn barren pit. This kid's hometown. Like, wait, what? Like they couldn't have made a better suited story for me personally. So 50 years later to be here, it's a very powerful feeling. And you sharing it with me as an expert.
No, totally.
And grounding me down because I just have feelings and sparks. And thank you so much. 800 pages. If you're not on the No Sense Make Sense Facebook page,
thank you.
Your nuggets,
thank you.
Bro. Daily nuggets between our good friend Mike Ketcher, who comes on with the images.
Yeah, very huge.
How does he keep coming up with fresh images?
Mike's got a whole group of people that are always feeding him stuff, and it's very cool.
Now, his Facebook page is which?
MFM 1970. Yes.
Incredible. Join them both. They're kind of sister pages. We'll have a lot of overlap, but there's different people on the pages like we have. Our great Chrissy. She'll kick in some information. She's her own amateur sleuth and researcher. Shouts out. And real excited to be here talking about them coming in the living room.
So basically, depending on what narrative you believe, I'm just going to go off of what the killers said, and also
we're going to contrast with the book.
Basically, they've now ushered in the victims into the living room. Tex Watson gives Susan Atkins the order to tie them up. Now, this is not with the rope. She goes actually to the kitchen and grabs towels, hand towels, and attempts to do the best job possible tying them up, which is not a very good job.
How thin they are, like the thinner dish rag towels. Like maybe you could get away with one wrap or like a crisscross for a second and think maybe.
Yeah.
So people have always wondered like, what? Because I think they're thinking like big, like actual movie star sumptuous towels that would be kind of thick and unwieldy. And then me just being me, I'm like, why didn't you just heat up the knife a little and just cut off a hank of that rope? You had 43 feet, 9 inches of the stuff apparently. What, you couldn't cut off a couple of feet and just like, but think about the young people. Now, do you believe they were on a form of methamphetamine?
Absolutely. Abigail Folger and Frykowski had drugs in the system.
Okay. Now, what about the killers? What is your belief? Because I feel in my heart of hearts why there's any doubt that there might have been methamphetamine, especially in Tex, maybe in Linda, definitely in Susan, and who knows what Patty was into. She always comes off retrospectively pretty innocent, pretty Quaker-like in her short hair now. But I mean, you think about how she got down, the extreme damage she did to Abigail. It's pretty stomach churning, and you got to think about the repetition of the wounds, which I think that's one thing that Tom O'Neill fleshed out really well, I think, in parts of his Chaos book, which is how vicious those bayonet wounds were, because it's been well established that it was Tex who had the bayonet. The bayonet wounds were the ones who were fatal, because they always say something like, of the 31 stab wounds, 5 were fatal. You know, it's like, so it seems like overkill. But what that means is we had the women probably going off on those people before Tex showed
to
up.
answer your first question, and this is just according to the common narrative, was that Tex and Susan took a hit off the methamphetamines out of the baby jar, which was located underneath the seat of the truck that was parked, one of the trucks that was parked at Spawn Ranch. And what people say is that this type of drugs was not welcome, I guess.
Well, I think that's why there's such denial about it, but I don't think you can deny it based on the wounds. And that's, sometimes it's hard to be honest. Clearly, I'm very biased on the show. I love Lynn a lot, but I can't abide by this big innocence when you just have this extreme damage and you think about what is going into these wounds when you're stabbing human beings who are gonna react. You can think about stabbing just even a real live pig with a bayonet that's live. Like, what a, maybe scarred for life.
To hit on our dare portion of the show, right? Back in those days, methamphetamine was a powder. This was well before it became crystallized and how we know it today, right?
Very popular.
So what I believe is that they had one of these baby jars, which formerly was a Gerber jar that was they fed their babies with, right?
Sure.
They had extra jars around.
You put screws and washers and crap in them.
Yep.
And you put them on a organizing, you know what I mean? Like the old man with the pegboard. And you don't think they weren't doing that kind of stuff. They had that little garage.
Resourceful.
Well, it seems like that was Texas environment there on the ranch where, you know, Charlie ruled most places, but that was Texas garage. And then certain girls, I think the more influential, cool girls, were very much into Danny DiCarlo with his massive penis and this new exciting drug. Because if they're ready to try some drugs, you've been having a lot of sex under these certain conditions, kind of mellow. You're talking psychedelics and weed, and somebody comes along with some speed. Well, you have sex very differently on speed. It's a very consumptive thing. It's very kind of gets very physical and nasty. And you're up for a couple days.
And Tex also said that this is a time where he was working on a lot of dune buggies.
Exactly.
So he was using this speed as a performance enhancer in his job.
That's how it was used constantly. And when I was around it as a kid, bikers did speed. You want speed? Go to the bikers. And that's what the first job I had really was working for speed slinging bikers in Ridgecrest as a kid. And then, like I said, there were direct ties to Spawn Ranch in the form of the Parastraight Satans that had kids that we went to school with in Ridgecrest. And again, we're hoping Robert Bushnell will be coming in on those folks. But I don't want to kill that story, but there was a lot of things happening simultaneously. So we're in the house. We've got these various motives.
So I believe when they're in the house, they're kind of somewhat tied up, right? And I think that Jay starts to object at what Tex Watson, what are you going to do? What would we, don't hurt her. Basically, he cared obviously most about Sharon Tate, his pregnant friend. And this is when Tex takes the opportunity to get real aggressive, right? He fires off a shot and breaks Jay Sebring's nose, right?
Bro.
I mean, and Jay, I don't know if Jay tried to reach for the gun or what, but Tex blasts him with, right in the chest. And that's basically the end of Mr. Sebring, unfortunately.
And it's just so explosive. It went from 0 to a dead man rather quickly. That was incredible bravery. And there's so many creepy moments that happen early on. I mean, of course, any wound that were received by these people were absolutely horrific. Any single wound would be just life altering, if not life ending. Okay. But you think about these first moments, the terror of these people having been woken up, whether they knew these people or not. Now,
Mhm.
do you feel which people were connected to whom? Clearly, in this room, we have the 4 victims
Mhm.
and I believe the 4 perpetrators. Now, do you believe Linda was in the house early?
I personally do, yeah.
Okay,
as
so we've
well,
got 4 on 4. Now, who knew who? Do you believe? But beyond the house and the semantics of how they got there, because clearly Tex had been there a great deal. He'd driven Jacobson's Jaguar all the way up to
Ukiah,
yep,
yep.
and under the aegis of our man Terry Melcher,
Mhm.
and knew all those people and the location very well. And as a criminal who's acted in criminal ways, I can say that's how you do things. You always go back to places you know.
Mhm.
There's the risk of going into an unknown footprint with unknown people inside.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. I've never heard of that, honestly. There's always a connection or always an informant, if not a direct connection. So that I think is put to bed. So we've got 4
Mhm.
on 4. Now,
Mhm.
what do you believe their interconnections were? Let's start with let's just start.
I
with Tex.
don't believe that Sharon knew any of them.
Okay.
I think that Sharon had met Charlie before,
Okay.
once at a party,
That makes a lot
where
of
they
sense.
were allegedly introduced to each other. And then also, if you believe it or not, Charlie coming in March to visit the Cielo house.
Oh, the one that's much made
Yeah.
of like,
Yeah.
hey, man.
Which I tend to believe that didn't actually happen.
No, but it's
I
such a
think that
good
story
piece of
was
cinema.
fabricated. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
But-
like you have to sometimes look at this case
Yeah.
through the eyes of the portrayers. Like, in the whole Helter Skelter movie.
Yep.
When he goes on his rant. I think you have to, that's like a Dave Chappelle version of Charlie, where you want to make a certain kind of point, you just change your voice. So maybe I'll start to do that. So when you guys see that, I'm a little psychotic, but that just means I'm making fun of the thing.
Yeah, sometimes Rick James's interview comes through my head where he says, we tied her up and we had a wicked way with her.
I'm sorry, dude. That stuff just kills me when they say it. So can we please pledge on here? We love you so much, you guys. It's so much work. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I swear to God, can we please just watch Helter Skelter? Because we've been getting inspired by our dear imaginary friend. She has no idea who we are. I swear we're not in love with her objectively as a woman. You know what I mean? I'm sure she's attractive, but I only have eyes for my wife. But Rotting Jewels,
Dana,
she's a wonderful gal. Her dry wit.
Mm-hmm.
You know that broad's intelligence level?
She's amazing.
Dude, she's over 165. Her head must hurt trying to go to sleep at night with all those all the intelligence fighting each other. Like, no, what do I do? Can you imagine trying to be emotionally connected with somebody that smart?
Yeah, check her out on Patreon and YouTube,
Please.
Rotting Jewels. Big fan of Dana.
Tell her what they just watched.
The other day we watched on Patreon, Dana had a watch party for Eyes Wide Shut.
Good Lord.
And the month prior, we watched Rosemary's Baby.
And she has a partner that I didn't really know much about.
Yeah, Parker.
Gal Pal Central, you guys. It's like if there was 2 Elviras, mistresses of the kind of evening time, they're rather Twilight-ish. I'll give them some Twilight. So Twilight gals, and they're just up in there ripping shit up and having fun.
She's got a lot of great help, good researchers that help her out.
Oh, is that how she gets it done? I don't understand how she has so much turnover.
Well, she has a fantastic memory as well, though. But yeah, her thing is really finding the process church, and their role in all of this. She focuses on Ed Sanders's files from Princeton University.
And that was your connection with her.
Yeah.
She seemed, goddamn, dude. Can you imagine being in a relationship with her? The kind of like a relationship archaeology she'd work out on you. Like, well, remember the time. Oh my God, she's hilarious. Anyway, I digress because I'm very impressed with her.
Check it out, you guys. Go to her YouTube, subscribe.
We had been talking about doing this thing with Helter Skelter. We couldn't figure it out. She laid the platform for it. That's why we're talking so much about her, because here on the channel, we always like to acknowledge our resources, including where are you getting your best information about the living room slaughter that started. So we've got Jay down. So then that means poor Sharon must be just flipping out because she's been getting manhandled and tied up. Where do you think she's physically at when Jay has been stricken?
Sitting somewhere on the living room floor.
Because it was everyone down.
Yeah, they're all down on the ground.
Okay.
Jay rose up, right? Tried to grab a hold of the gun, allegedly was shot. Which I'm thinking that at that time, Wojtek Frykowski saw this as his opportunity to get out of there, right? Tex starts yelling.
So that's when he went for the front door, you think?
Right before that. Okay. They're getting hysterical. Susan alerts Tex to, we got a problem here. He's getting free. Right. Tex says,
she's screaming. Tex is yelling.
Yeah.
Wojtek, who knows what he's doing? Because he got really vocal when you read about it. So Sharon is flipping.
Well, no, he actually starts grabbing Susan by the hair and yanking her around by her hair.
And that's allegedly when she was stabbing him in the thighs.
Tex says, "Go stab him." She hesitates for a moment, having allegedly never gotten physical like that with somebody before.
Right. That's in all of her.
Yeah. She starts hitting him in the legs, stabbing him in the legs.
The knife that got misplaced. Do you think it was that knife? Are you guessing?
She had the one with the electrical tape on it that she pulled. It was one of these throwing knives, right? That was stuck in like a barrel, a thing of hay.
And Carlo and Charlie, right?
Yeah.
And some one-upsmanship.
So after Wojtek gets stabbed in the legs a few times, he gets up and he's like, I'm out of here.
That's when the front door break happened. Okay, so when that's starting to happen, she's gotten her head knotted up. That's when that was first revealed, I think, in Note, when she was talking to the ladies in Sybil Brand lockup. Is that correct? The first time that real direct.
She's bragging about stabbing some guy in the legs. Yeah.
And dude, if you, you think about that, because you're moving, your legs are under stress. You're like an animal being slaughtered. So you're getting, while your legs are flexing, that's when you're getting stabbed. It hurts so much more. And then he's like, reacting to that. So he's getting loud.
Yeah.
So they're all screaming.
Abigail is matched up with Krenwinkel, right? Abigail gets off, runs in the opposite direction, down the hallway towards Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski's room. There's a set of double doors. They're French doors, right?
Glass panes.
Reaches for the handle, opens it up. She's going out towards the pool.
That's where the thumb.
Krenwinkel is after her, right? Leaves a fingerprint on the French door. Now, when they come out those doors, that pool is directly in front of them. If she goes right, she can go back behind the guest house. But maybe she's not familiar with that area that well, you know?
Right.
But so she decides to go left at the pool and run out towards the grassy area.
But then she's corralled, right? Because she's got the, it's what, blackberry bramble or the equivalent on a almost sheer cliff. And it's dark.
And I believe that this whole running, you know, while they're running, Krenwinkel's taking stabs at her, right? So they wrestle to the ground. Abigail, people don't realize this was about 145 pounds.
Right.
She's about a 5'8", 5'9" girl, right? So she has some decent size on. She's actually, even though Krenwinkel has a knife, Abigail's holding her own, wrestling her. Really, Krenwinkel has no advantage over her, right? So they're wrestling. This is where I believe that Wojtek runs out the door, and I think that he started running towards the gate.
Oh,
but I think that he heard screaming and he looked over.
That's where he got distracted. That's how he got.
He saw Krenwinkel and Abigail. So I think he turned and went towards his girlfriend.
Well, yeah, you think about energy in a situation like that. Okay, so you're running out, you're dude, the adrenaline shot that boy must have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten stabbed in the leg at least 4 or 5 times. So the shit is real. He just saw someone whose business they had invested in as a couple, but it was really Abigail's money, right?
Yeah.
So this is a big future. This is a very real thing to him. He's a young person, probably never experienced violence of any type like this, especially. So the guy all at once is like feeling very much like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, right? Like young Scoob. So his whole, you think about what a heavy download that is for the guy.
And, you know, a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists say that somebody will fight for somebody else more than they'll fight for themselves. So,
as we're going to get to.
Yeah.
So you feel he's running towards her. Okay, so simultaneously, this is when the assault is going down on Susan, who remains in the house with the dying Jay. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. So who's with Susan, do you believe? Because for me, it's always been our girl Linda Kasabian and her holding Sharon Tate down in that supine position. Now, is that how you're feeling?
Yeah, I don't think it happened quite at this point. Okay. I think that Sharon was probably hysterical. And she's seeing Jay dying on the ground.
Like,
yeah, I don't think, unless, I mean, maybe Sharon did get up and try to run outside. This is where that whole question comes in. Yeah, how did her blood
level
get
of struggle?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, we know that Wojtek and Folger made it outside. And some point between him yanking Susan by the hair, getting stabbed, and him dying on the lawn, he got shot somewhere along the way.
And really worked over the
head.
beat
with the gun, allegedly, right? Yeah.
Do I've had some scalp wounds? They were singular. No repetition of the scalp wounds. But I can tell you, personally, if you haven't had one, those were the most traumatic. Those are the ones that like stuck with me on a cellular level.
Yeah.
Like I'll look at other ones and they're more upsetting, but this is the one that goes beyond my consciousness. And these I have like 3 or 4 where you're just like, very traumatic, very neurological level. So these people are operating in reptilian stance. Some of these people are very refined. And then you think about Susan, she's trying to hold her own against, how big is Wojtek at this time? He's not huge. He was like 165-ish.
Not even that. I think that she weighed the most according to the coroner's report. Abigail was the person there that weighed the most. Sharon Tate, I believe, weighed the second most.
He was smaller.
Yeah. But because of the pregnancy.
Oh, got it. Got it. So then we've got him, who's not noted for his ruggedness or manliness. He's fleeing. We've got potentially 2 women who've got hands on Sharon Tate inside. We've got, do you believe Tex is inside at that point?
No, Tex originally went after Frykowski. Yeah. Then
he says yoinks, takes the right turn towards this lady who's just screaming literally bloody murder.
Yeah.
So then this is when you think some of the carnage is on the porch. How did the porch?
Yeah, I think it was at the porch. Tex is at the porch.
Okay.
With Wojtek, right?
Okay. So he's turned right.
Abigail's struggling with Krenwinkel to the right.
He's looking at her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think at that point, I don't know a better way to put this, but Abigail becomes the biggest liability because she's screaming. We're outside, right? We're talking about you gotta silence this, or the whole neighborhood's about to wake up, you know.
Exactly. That's a thing where I think people get lost in the just make it stop, Susan. Oh, help me, Sadie. The whole thing of Linda bawling for it to stop. When we think about Linda actually being inside and participating, which I feel is the truth, and then I think you're starting to reveal your feelings that mirror that, or at least echo the sentiment that she wasn't innocent. The way
I
We'll
have
get on
something-
that.
I
Right,
add
right.
to that too. Yeah,
Now,
later.
part of it too, like
Yeah.
we're working on the overall motivation hanging above the story. We're sticking
Mhm.
very meticulously to thus far. Linda, of course, she's going to say in court she had nothing to do with it because she's going to try to absolve herself. He's got the brilliant young lawyer, Paul Fitzgerald, right? Is it Paul Fitzgerald?
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful gentleman. I
Yep.
think he was just a great lawyer. He fesses up completely that Charlie probably could have walked, at least on appeal, if not,
Mhm.
if he had decent representation, which I find fascinating.
Mhm.
He basically says that Linda, for lack of a better term, was very smart and took a great deal. And I can't say any more, meaning
Mhm.
she's guilty as hell. It was a brilliant ploy to get her to walk. And I
Mhm.
did what I could as a lawyer. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I find that very interesting. So I think we both feel she was involved. So that's going down. Now, at what point were the lights turned off? Because that command of turn out the lights is just, for me,
I've read that, but I don't know. I have no idea if they're on or off, honestly.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, you think about the real muscle in the crime, the people, the real angel of death in this picture, the slaughter scene, who says, turn out the lights. Like, that is why Tex
It's creepy.
will never, ever see freedom. There's no way.
And here Garrettson is in the guest house. He is hearing everything that's going on to Abigail Folger. She's not too far
You
away.
believe that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I believe that is not because of this book, or it's because of Garrettson's polygraph the day after the morning, basically the day of the murders.
LAPD
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. His
One from the
polygraph,
LAPD.
and also what he said in subsequent interview with Brian Davis.
Years later.
Yeah.
Because
He heard Abigail begging for her life, which freaked him out. Yeah.
okay,
He went into a closet. Inside of the guest house was a closet, and inside of the closet was a small window. And he said he looked out the window and he saw people out on the lawn and a woman struggling for her life. So you have Tim Ireland, which is down at the Westlake School for Girls, right down the hill.
That's the struggle he potentially heard.
He heard
so
a
far
woman
away.
say, basically, I'm already dead.
Which
Stop
is
stabbing me.
which is exactly
Yeah.
what Patricia Krenwinkel said most famously on the 90s edition of Nightline. Later sampled by Rob Zombie, right? He looped it in, there was a song known as Real Solution Number 9.
Yeah.
Where
right.
he loops it, and it's a great cut. She starts off saying, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to say this stupid chant. I'm going to burn an X in my forehead. And they have this like great beat. And she says, I'm already dead. I'm already dead.
Wow.
Like, so that's what he heard as well. So that's what's so wild about this goddamn crime.
Yeah.
Why do we keep coming back to it? Okay. This guy was how far away?
Probably 25 feet away, 30 feet away.
Right. And then the man from the scout camp that we talked about,
He was
10
just down the
episodes
hill.
ago.
Yeah. Probably a couple, I don't know, maybe 800 feet, I'm guessing.
So you think about it, and then the elevation, the way the air moves. So we have multiple eyewitnesses, multiple audio witnesses. We have multiple people, victims who are witnesses, multiple perpetrators who are witnesses, and then a person very far away who didn't see anything. Their testimony lines up with one of the eyewitnesses who didn't testify properly in the case, and the murderer many, many years later, all corroborating. And we are going to sign off. Just seriously, the victims, their families, and this sounds really shitty, maybe. So bear with me.
Yeah. We'll come back to it.
The actual murderers, I've had to live with this. And besides fuck Linda Kasabian for literally getting away with one of the most hectic murders that I've ever studied. I mean, I don't want to say like one of the most, certainly the most infamous murders in American history, but great God, the suffering of the victims.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick before I forget.
Ooh,
We're going to sign off
please.
here in a moment, but if I don't bring it up now, next episode, I probably won't bring it up. So if I was a defense attorney, you have the opportunity to cross-examine Linda Kasabian on the stand, right? One of the questions you ask her, where were you when this is going on? She said, in the garage as a lookout, waiting to see if anybody was coming up to the gate, right? Okay, having her words and saying this, what then you ask her is, well, why then was there blood found in the garage? Well, because Linda Kasabian was inside the house. After this at all, she tracked blood inside to the garage.
Absolutely. And I'm going to bring that back up next episode. And I want to talk about where, Casey, you sourced that information. Because on Twilight Garage, we always acknowledge our sources. We thank the Yellow Brick Road of all great researchers, true lovers of this case, for all of your hard work and perseverance in the years preceding our great lucky ascent.
Deborah Silva.
Oh, we
love you.
Twilighters, we love you. Thank you again. What a